Well, hello. Welcome to Thursday Night Live. This is Sandy with Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona, and I am glad that you are here. I can see that there's some people in here already, and we're going to have a fun topic tonight. Now, it may seem right now that Christmas is a long ways away. It seems that way, but really it's already November and just over a month and a half, and it will be Christmas. And we are going to talk about holiday traditions, things maybe that you haven't thought about. Maybe you have some ideas that you can write in the chat that I have never thought about. Hello, Julie. How are ya? So it's holiday traditions tonight. I think when we grow up, especially any of us that are older, there was always a lot of holiday traditions. But sometimes you have to make new traditions, something that's just for you and your family. Hi, Cheryl. How are ya? Thanks for stopping in. And so anytime during the chat, just maybe there's a tradition I haven't thought about, something that you guys do. And Matthew's here. Good evening. And Madeline says, I finally made it on. Well, that's because you're a world traveler. That's all there is to it. You know? I hope you're doing really well. So I thought it might be fun to talk about maybe some old traditions that we did when we were growing up and some new traditions that we might do. Cheryl says, glad I caught the live. Thank you. I'm so glad you're here too. So what are some of the traditions that you did when you were growing up? Like for me, our family was always, we loved board games. I still love board games. And we would have our meal, open presents if we hadn't done it before, depending on what time of the day we were having our meal. And then we would play board games, like Monopoly, Candyland, Life, all kinds of things like that. And we'd have different tables. And sometimes the older ones, people would play cards. And my dad would take a nap, he'd be listening, pretty soon he's asleep. But that's because the turkey has that stuff in there. That's the way it is. Going to grandma's for cookie baking day. Tons of sugar, cookies to decorate. See, we always did that too. Between my aunt, my mom, my grandmother, it was, I don't even know how much sugar they bought for the holiday season, because we made all kinds of cookies and we made candies. And my grandmother loved to make, they were a candy they taste like mounds, but they actually were made with mashed potatoes and coconut. And I have a recipe. I'd have to look it all up to tell you everything that's in there. And then it was dipped in chocolate. And it literally tasted just like a Mounds candy bar. Now, I don't think Mounds candy bar has potatoes in there. But it was fabulous. And we decorated cookies. And we'd put sprinkles. And it was just a fabulous time of the year. My mother can make the best fudge ever. And it's a simple recipe. I've made it many, many times. But those are just things that when I grew up. Well, when you are an adult and you have a spouse, you have to meld those traditions together. And so you'll take a little bit from one family, a little bit from another family. But it's really important to make your own traditions too. Like when I was growing up, there was always turkey and there was ham. Well, I don't eat pork, so I don't make a ham for Thanksgiving. It's only turkey, though once in a while we have had a prime rib instead, and that's always fun. The pie making is just part of my tradition. Pumpkin pie, apple pie, a cream pie, banana cream, chocolate cream, things like that. Those are all parts of tradition that sometimes we just don't think about. Though food like that is great all year round. My one son says he could eat pumpkin pie for breakfast every single day. So before he was married, and he was um he's an adult. He lives by himself. He has his own apartment. He would actually buy a pumpkin pie from the market or a store, one of the places, and he said he would eat a piece of pie every morning for breakfast afterwards until it was all gone. I love pumpkin pie. Hello, Juan. How are ya? Thanks for stopping in. We're talking about holiday traditions. Okay, I still make grandma's pumpkin chiffon pie. Oh, that sounds good. I just love that. I seriously love those pies and those cookies that our grandmothers made, and then your mother's made them, and then you still make them. It's fabulous. We would sometimes have goose. See, I like goose, but it's way expensive in the store, and so I rarely get it. When it was just 5 of us, we don't have as much meat. They don't have as much meat on them as you think. And a goose is interesting because it's more all dark meat. I love it. Um, but like at our store back home, they have a goose in the freezer. You can buy it anytime. It's a whole goose. And unless they have a really good sale, it's 100 and some dollars for that goose. You might as well buy prime rib. It's like crazy. Unless you know somebody who's raising geese, then you can probably get a good price. Or you're doing it yourself. But I do love it. But I just haven't done that again. Cora, how are you, young lady? Thanks for stopping in tonight. Cora, we're talking about Christmas traditions and things that you guys do that's a family tradition. I think they are a lot cheaper in the past. I've only bought one once. Oh, I think they were cheaper too. And then all of a sudden it's crazy. They want um 13, $15 a pound for a goose. Same with like a pheasant. It's just like out of control. But let's talk about some um traditions that maybe you haven't thought about. That might be something that you could add into your family tradition. Now, one thing that's the grandkids think is really fun is you buy little trinkets and candy and stuff like that, and you start with saran wrap and you start rolling it up and you're making this ball, and as you're rolling it up, you put more and more stuff in it. It's a whole game. They really like it. They play a game called Spoons, and they like Farco. Um, See, those are different than when I grew up, but they're really fun. Cheryl says, my grandma's raisin cookies. Ooh, like I love a good oatmeal raisin cookie. So I'm sure I would like a good raisin cookie too. My aunt would make, um, it was a mincemeat cookie. So I had a big cookie on the bottom, glob of mincemeat that I'm sure she made because I've tried buying mincemeat in the store and it was disgusting. And then another little dollop of cookie, and she baked them. They were just like to die for. They were just so amazing. And sometimes when we lose those members of our family, those traditions stop. Okay, here's some ideas. Write a letter to each of your children or grandchildren and give it to them each Christmas. Let them read it, but then save it in a special box so that years later you can give it to them. And they can just read through all those letters they got when they were growing up. It's just so special. Cora says, we always get a real tree and decorate a few days before Christmas. We also always put out our nativity scene. See, that's lovely. When we were growing up, my dad and my mom, and sometimes lots of people, we'd go up into the Black Hills, and I'm sure we had to get a tree permit, and we would make a day of it. We would have food, we'd have hot chocolate, we would sled, And of course, we had to find the perfect Christmas tree. It was just great fun. And it's just one of those things that you remember for year to year. Because if you look back, how many times do you remember the gift that you got? Most people don't. You know, like I could tell you very few gifts I got for Christmas. My aunt always gave us socks, so I always remember that. And I have started giving my children socks, only not white ones like I got from my grandma. Fun, crazy, wild socks. And everybody seems to like those. But what if you don't want to give regular gifts? What about, like in the Netherlands and different places like that, they give books. You know the person that you're supposed to be buying the gift for, and you find a book that you think that they would love. Now, if they're not a book reader, what about giving them a movie or a movie night? Something that they could do. But I love books, and so the idea of getting books anytime for me is like spectacular. I just love them. But we talked about cookie making. That is a special thing. Making cookies, candy, pies, not just by yourself, but as a group. And it makes it just so much more enjoyable and memorable. I remember going to my grandmother's house and making cookies and cookies. And then we'd go to my aunt's house and make something else. And a different day we would be at my mom's house and making different things. Like we would make taffy and peanut brittle. I didn't even know how we didn't weigh 1,000,000 pounds with all the stuff we ate at Christmas time. One of the things that we didn't do, well, we kind of did it. We would drive around and we would see the people with the lights on. But now, a lot of times in a town, the parks will be all decorated, and you turn your radio to a certain station and it plays the Christmas music, and it is just a fun thing to do. You get to wander through the park, you see all these different lights, and it's a memory. Traditions are really just things that give us memories. So I like doing that. I love giving homemade gifts. It could be a piece of my art, it could be a piece of my fused glass, and something that they can keep not only up right now, but all year round. I love that kind of gift. Rainbow Jello, you know it. I have a couple of Jello books, and they have the funnest recipes. It is just crazy of all the things that they've come up with that you can do with Jello. I love it. One thing that I haven't really done it down here, but when we just lived in Wyoming, I liked having our main tree and then little trees in different places in the house. Like I loved it when we were little, and once in a while we'd get to have a tree in our room. But to decorate your house, have a little one in the kitchen, have one in the bathroom. Yeah, I mean, you can get little tiny trees just to make things festive. I love that. You can make your own advent calendar. An advent calendar usually has the little doors you open each day, and it has some kind of either prize or food in there, right? But if you make your own advent calendar, and you can easily do them, and there's lots of videos online on how to make an advent calendar. But instead of putting that kind of prize inside or candy inside, you can put little notes on things to do to help people this holiday season. Like one might say, bake a pie for Mr. Jones. Maybe Mr. Jones lives down the street from you. Um, you open a door and it says, work in the soup kitchen this week. Things that actually get out of yourself and get you and your family into helping somebody else, because you can literally adopt a family for the holidays. You might get gifts for their friends, their family, bring dinners or pies or cakes or something over to their house. And if you think about it and you say, oh, I don't even know how to find a person like that, talk to your local pastor. Talk to like a social service worker or a CASA volunteer. they would probably be able to tell you families that are struggling this year, that aren't going to really have a big Christmas. And why not share that experience with them? And I tell you, you will get as much out of it as they get out of it, maybe even more, because giving and helping other people is just so fantastic. Now, my daughter, my youngest daughter, she has two girls. Each year, they get matching pajamas. And so all three of them have a matching pajamas. My one friend that they have 8 children, and she literally sews pajamas, all matching pajamas for all 10 people, 8 kids and her husband. It's just the cutest thing ever. They usually have a photo. Sometimes they'll use the photo for their Christmas card. It's just cute as can be. I mean, that is a lot of work. I think I probably might buy them. I mean, but it's just a token of love that she does. And I think that's fabulous. How about starting a tradition with your children or grandchildren or great grandchildren that you take a photograph in front of the Christmas tree every year? And if you do this over and over again, um, you will see how your family expands, how the kids grow, how the grandkids are getting taller. And it's just a beautiful tradition that you can have its own photo album that's just for that. And it's just a wonderful thing to do for your family. And that is something that when they go through it, they'll go, oh my gosh, look at us then. Now, if you combine that with the PJs, it is just beyond fabulous. I tell you. Um, how many of you guys do cookie exchanges? You make the cookies and then you exchange them with a lot of different friends. It's a great way to get a lot of different kinds of cookies, and you didn't have to bake all of them. We do that down here in Arizona. Down at our clubhouse, a whole bunch of us just um, you have to make 2 dozen cookies. Then you can go in and you just take a certain amount off of each tray until you get 2 dozen back. And it is a fun thing to do. Henry is here. Hello. Thankful November. That's right. We need to be thankful every single day, though. But for some reason, I think the holiday season just does something, because people that may be grumpy most of the time, they're not usually grumpy during the holiday season. And I like it that their heart warms during that season. I did a cookie party like that, and everyone brought copies of the cookie recipes for the others to take home. I like that. In fact, I think I'm going to suggest that everybody brings a copy of their recipe when we do our cookie exchange this year. Because, you ask people for a new recipe, but sometimes life gets busy and you never get that recipe. And Penny is here. Hello. How are you? Good evening, Sandy. I have been using my internet all day to work on business things all day in my office here. I just received your notification, so I'm sorry I'm late. Not a worry in the world. Penny, we're talking about holiday traditions, things that we did when we were growing up, traditions maybe we had when we had our kids, things that we add. And just because you get older doesn't mean that you can't start a new holiday tradition, because it makes it exciting, it makes it fun, it makes it different. And like when we grew up, we drew names. You didn't buy a gift for everybody. You drew a name, and that's who you had to give a gift to. Even the kids had to. Now, they may not be able to buy something, but they could make something. And it was just so fun. And my parents always did give us a little cash money so that we could buy something because it was a secret. You weren't supposed to tell whose name that you were drawn. And it was just great fun. Now, my one grandmother, she lived on a farm. just very not rich. Okay. And on our birthdays, we would get $1. But at Christmas, we got an individual card from her. All the grandkids did, and $2 in there. But she lived on a farm, you know? She had chickens and she had some other animals, and that's just what she did. And I always remember it. Was it very much money? No. But it was a lot of money when because she had a lot of grandkids. And it was a fabulous thing that she did. Nursing homes love when people come and sing Christmas carols. If if they give out cookies, it's wonderful. Plus for the seniors, that is a great idea. You know, when I was in Girl Scouts, we went to the nursing homes and we would sing Christmas carols. But I love the idea of bringing some cookies or some kind of snack for them. Um, you never know what you may learn from an old person. Sometimes people are afraid of old people, you know, especially when they're younger and they don't know that person. But really, they just have so many gifts to give and so many stories and so much knowledge. And oh, yes. Of course, says that I have sung at the nursing home before while some other kids played instruments. See, that's a fabulous tradition. I love it. Now, tell me some of the things that you might do for a holiday tradition. Do you play board games? I love cards. I love board games. I do. I just think they're just the most fabulous thing to do, especially at a holiday. Not necessarily because of the game. I mean, I do love the game. It's always fun. But I love the conversation. I love that you have this interaction and all of a sudden you hear stories. And when you get together with family and friends, there's just so many stories to share. And it just makes it so fun and memorable because traditions make memories. And I just love that. So, what am I going to do for a family tradition this year? Because I'm in Arizona. The only family I will see will be mom and dad. Now, when I was growing up, we did funny things too. Like, and I don't know how it started. I don't remember. I must have been way little when it started. Um, there was this cinnamon roll. I mean, it was huge and it was hard as a rock. And the idea was that you wrapped it up in this beautiful package and you would give it to somebody. And that cinnamon roll went around our family, and everybody would burst into laughter when you opened the package. Seriously, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years. It was just something that we did, and it was silly. It's like a pickle on a Christmas tree. It's silliness. We get a little competitive. Rubicon can take hours. I can be a little competitive with games too, but it's still so much fun. And it doesn't really matter in the end if you win or you lose. It's just the family, just your friends. My daughter, that she, that has the two girls. She does a thing each year around Thanksgiving time, and she calls it friend giving instead of Thanksgiving. And everybody brings some stuff, and she does the meat, and they play games, and they have little tables for the kids and big tables for the big people, and it's just a great way to start the holiday season. And so she was asking me today about what she should cook for the meat. Every year since I was a child, we have made each person in our family has to make a homemade gift as well as a store gift to give to each family member as well. I have got some wonderful homemade gifts. I love getting homemade gifts. I do. I mean, like, I treasure them. And you always find this great place to display them or use them, depending on what it is. And it is a great thing to do. Madeline says, the men play poker. The ladies and the kids play Farkle or chicken foot, with dominoes. I don't know how to play chicken foot with dominoes. I know how to play Farkle. Always after the meal. See, that is a new game I could learn. I like that. Now, when you live down here we have a clubhouse. And so there'll be like a Thanksgiving dinner. The clubhouse will cook up the turkeys, and then it's a potluck. Everybody brings, and it doesn't cost you anything. Christmas is usually the same thing, and people sign up. And so you got people that are bringing potatoes, gravy, um, dressing, desserts, salads. I love it. And then you just pick and eat whatever you want. Now, some people don't like potlucks, and that's okay. Just eat turkey, you know. But I just find it so fun. Did you ever think about sometimes volunteering at a school is something you can do? You know, a lot of times at Christmas time, they will have a holiday party, or they have movie afternoons. And to volunteer for like your child's or grandchild's, talk to their teacher beforehand. I'd like to bring some cookies. I'd like to bring some drinks. I'd like to help you on that day so the party is not so chaotic because you have more adults there. That is such a blessing to a teacher. And it's a great way to learn your kids or your grandkids as friends and just be part of their lives more. But for me here, now, last year, we did all of our stuff back home. We went over to South Dakota, and for Thanksgiving, they were supposed to come to our house. Roads were terrible. So instead of having it on Thanksgiving, we had it on Sunday. Then at Christmas, we went over to South Dakota. But this year, it's just me, Joe, Mom, and Dad. Oh, now Cora says, I have a clubhouse I go to when we go to my family in Georgia. We usually play white elephant at the clubhouse during Christmas. See, that is always fun because you never know what you might get. So I don't have a big Christmas tree down here. And so I have a little tiny one, but I'm really thinking that I need a big Christmas tree down here. Now, it's a dilemma. Now, Michael's, a lot of times will have them 70, 80% off before Christmas. So that's a good time to buy one. I could go to secondhand stores. Sometimes you can find them. Sometimes they're on Facebook. If you don't want to spend a lot of money for a Christmas tree. Put lights on the banana tree. Now that is an idea. I was back there looking at my banana trees today. I got bundles of bananas coming down, and I got to trim up some of the older leaves die off. So I need to cut some of those off. But that's an idea. Or I could put it on my very first orange trees right by the driveway, and I could have some solar lights there. That would be fun. In fact, it'd be fun to have them along all that whole row where I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fruit trees right there. That would be really cool. That is a great idea. I'm going to have to be looking into that. But we always, when we were growing up, my mom would make popcorn, and we would string popcorn. I mean, and then we'd wrap it around our Christmas trees. We'd wrap it different places along my parents' fireplace. And I think sometimes kids miss out when they don't do those kind of things. Or your grandkids, you might suggest and they'll go, that's not fun, Grandma. But once they get started, it is a lot funner than what they think. They can put cranberries in between there. If you had some dried citrus, they could string that. If you're on a homestead, afterwards, you can hang it in the chicken coop, and those chickens will just be delighted. So those are things you can do. Oh my gosh, it's already 30 minutes. I could talk about holiday traditions for a long time because I love the holidays. I brought my Christmas tree cookie cutters down. So they have it's cascading. And so you cut them out, you make butter cookies. And then after they're baked, you frost them and then you stack them one onto the other. And so you can have little tiny trees or you can have great big trees, and they're all cookie. The whole thing is a cookie. And then you just break it off as you eat it, or take one cookie at a time. It's just fabulous. And you can decorate them so spectacularly. But I'm going to have to let you go. I have not fixed Joe's supper yet. It is 5:30 here in Yuma, Arizona, and he's listening to a movie out there. I told him to keep the volume down, but it is not down. So if you can hear ba 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 ba, it's because he's watching some old war movie. But everybody, thanks for stopping by. I hope you start some holiday traditions that you never did before. Think of some ideas that you think would be just spectacular for your friends, your family, and for you. I've seen that before. Maybe you did a video of the cookie tree one year. I did do that because I love making them. I just find them so fun. You can dye the cookie dough to green if you want to, or you can just make white ones, have some green frosting, or have everything white. And that's spectacular too. Cora, thanks for stopping in. All you guys, I just so appreciate these stopped in. Have a great time. Oh, side note, I am doing a 60-second video or less for 100 days. So today was day 2. There's already 2 short videos up. We'll have to check them out. Bye, everybody. See you next time. Bye.